let us all do we can to build a better future. So let's deal with our first segment. And myself and Daniel's stories are connected, but in many ways, I want to focus on the fight for $15 an hour. As we all know, the $15 minimum wage, the can's been kicked down the road, even though there have been some generous lawmakers, air quote, lawmakers that have decided to, I don't know, say, let's wait till 2025 for $15 minimum wage, even though by that point, it won't even matter. But let's put up this first video from Case Study QB. Again, follow him on Twitter. He's doing a lot of great content, not only on Twitter, but also on his own personal YouTube channel. But this first video, there's talk about how Republican lawmakers, all of a sudden, I guess a light bulb is going on their head, thinking, wait a minute, some of our voters are working class. Wait a minute, they might need that extra money. Wait a minute, they might vote for us. Now, again, these are Republican lawmakers that are thinking this, but it's not going to be $15. They're thinking like maybe 10 or 11. But I find this video interesting because it's leading into how the conversation will take place for the 2022 midterm election cycle. Let's play this first video.
Politics on a lot of issues changed under the last 4 years under Trump. Partly because he kind of picked issues at his convenience, places that he thought he could really fire up his current existing supporters, potentially reach out to new supporters, though he really actually never did that at all, but did adopt issues that seemed convenient for him. So, for example, I think a place where there's a little bit of realignment right now within Republican and Democratic principles is around minimum wage, right? So Florida elected Trump by a strong margin, raised the minimum wage to $15 an hour. So even though that's been traditionally seen as a Democratic idea, Republicans are starting to see that there is a place for movement because people want it, because they haven't actually been talking enough to people about.
But what Republicans actually see that? I mean, yes, I talked about that yesterday on the show as well, right? Because they're seeing this as more of a populist movement. They understand that some of their followers, some of their voters are actually wage workers that could really benefit from a $15 minimum wage. But then you have the Mitch McConnells of the world possibly who still believe in this kind of Republican ideal, right? That it's going to hurt small businesses, that, you know, the minimum wage shouldn't be $15 an hour. It's going to balloon the deficit and so on and so forth. So I mean, sure, it's happening to some extent. There's some common ground when it comes to that. Yeah,
there is a bill in the Senate that both Senators Romney and Cotton introduced together for a $10 minimum wage. So I'm not going to argue that Romney is the soul of the Republican Party right now, not by a long shot. But Cotton does think that he wants to be president. So he sees a little bit of upside there. To your point about McConnell and the Republicans who are following him, I think McConnell is actually out on a limb more than people are realizing in trying to hold on to Republican principles of not even 10 years ago, because 10 years ago was the Tea Party, but of 15 years ago. I think he's really trying to hang on. I think we should not forget that before the Republican Party cult of personality of Donald Trump was the Tea Party. They came through Washington, they came through state houses, and that's where we're seeing a lot of the pickup on issues right now.
Okay, so there's a lot to take away from that first segment right there. Again, we got two other videos to play, but I just want to bring to everyone's attention the fact that there are now some Republican lawmakers toying with the idea. Now, again, $10 an hour doesn't count, and I also want to give a shout out to E. Heller, who's one of our moderators, who says fight for 25. I'm going to say it has to be fight for 30, but again, notice how the conversation is changing, and this is where the Democrats are walking into disaster, because let's say the GOP does get its act together in an off case scenario.
No, I mean it does. I mean, it's sort of in a civil war right now, but they know what they're doing.
Exactly, but I want to be very careful when I say this, because let's say in some kind of scenario, the GOP just stops snorting whatever they're snorting. Maybe a white powder. I don't know what it could be. It could be chalk. But let's say they realize, wait a minute, if we actually run on this and actually not only that, follow through with a wage increase, this could be an epic disaster for the Democrats. Because remember, a lot of these progressive Democrats, especially the 15 Democrats that are on the force to vote petition or were on the force to vote petition for Medicare for all, those 15 worked and ran their campaigns not only for Medicare for all, but also wage increases. And we're not seeing any kind of pushback against the parliamentarian. And again, this parliamentarian, who is this person? It's a non-elected official. The Republicans have a lot of political...
I will be the judge, even though I have no power or anything. Everyone will act as if I do.
Right, but the thing is, with the Republicans, though, this parliamentarian, it could have been overruled by Democratic Vice President Kamala Harris, and Biden could have ordered Vice President Kamala Harris to do this, but Biden chose not to. That is a lot of political ammunition for GOP leaders to use, especially when they want to regain the House and Senate. It's the Democrats could have done this for you. We're going to fight harder for you. Even if they probably don't follow through, it's enough to really get a lot of people to support the GOP or Republican lawmakers that are going to run on policies if they choose to be aggressive and smart about it. But again, this is American politics from our two-party neoliberal system. It's one big club and you ain't in it. Let's pull up this next video where we're going to find out the last time the minimum wage was increased, everybody. Hang on. You're going to be surprised which president it was.
Obviously, a lot of your fellow progressives are not happy about this. Many of your fellow Democrats aren't, but you don't have the 50 votes to get rid of the filibuster or to overrule the parliamentarian.
So
what do you tell progressives about how much patience they should have?
No, I don't think we have patience. Democrats are united in giving a raise. The last time the Senate voted for a higher minimum wage, it was my first month in office. It was the first speech I gave on the Senate floor. It was so long ago that the presiding officer was a first-term Illinois senator by the name of Barack Obama. He was presiding over the Senate. That's how long ago this was. Since we've raised the minimum wage, the Republicans have failed to do it. We're going to raise wages. We're going to find a way to do it. I'm not going to negotiate on Meet the Press, as prestigious as this longest-serving show, whatever it is.
I appreciate
but
it.
we're going to make this happen.
Host it.
We're going to find a way. It's just too important not to.
So you think this is something that can be negotiated across the aisle as well? That that this isn't about starting to campaign to Joe Manchin to say nuke the filibuster?
No, I will find a way. I mean, Senator Wyden, the leader of the Finance Committee, I'm on that committee with Senator Whitehouse and Senator Bennett and others who have fought for the child tax credit and earned income tax credit, all of these issues.
Really put
we will figure out a
huge amount of effort into pretending they're doing something, don't they?
Yeah, I know. But see, now the thing is, he mentions about Obama being a senator at the time, but also the last time the minimum wage was increased was under Bush Jr.
Yeah, but
to your point though, the Democrats are not only professional in making up all these word salads, they really work hard on not trying to work at all. Period. Like as a political party, especially vote blue no matter who crowd. I mean, what leg do you have left to stand on? I mean, Biden said nothing's going to fundamentally change. I mean, the same things that Trump was policies he was implementing. Biden is just not doing crap. The only difference is that he's not tweeting mean things out on Twitter. That's about it.
But it's even worse because everyone's now saying that he's doing a good job when he's not, and they're like, you see, Chuck Todd, he's like almost like underhandedly, like, yeah, but progressives need to just shut up. And how long do we have to tell them that they have to be patient? Oh, I don't know. We'll just let some people starve. Here's the deal. Not pushing these reforms forward, whether it be Medicare for all, $15 minimum wage, you name it, it kills people. When you have 330 million people in a country, there are a number of people that die every single day because this stuff is not being passed. If someone is outside in the cold without a place to sleep, there's a percentage chance they're going to die overnight when they sleep, when their body temperature drops, if they don't have the proper covering and maybe the police took it or something. Or people every day we know are dying because of medical issues that they can't fix because they can't afford to fix it. $15 minimum wage. We have people that can't afford to go to a doctor now to do a preventative treatment because they don't make the money, so that they don't know in 2 years when their cancer becomes terminal what to do or how to fix it because they can't at that point. Every day that something is not done, Americans die. And again, Chuck Todd's like, how long do we have to be patient? Because, and we're going to go over this when we hit the Andrew Cuomo segment. In America, if you're a politician, it's fine if you kill thousands of people as long as you don't have sex with the wrong people.
Yeah. All right, now let's go ahead and pull up this next video, because if you all want to know what a word salad looks like, especially when asked, hey, how do we handle, I don't know, overruling the parliamentarian, you're going to see the longest word salad I've ever seen. Let's play that next video. Again, be sure to follow Case Study QB on Twitter.
And a member of the Budget Committee. Senator, good morning to you. Thanks for being with us.
Good morning, Hallie. Good to be with you.
Of course, we're keeping up our focus on COVID, of course, and I want to talk about the coronavirus relief bill. It is now in the Senate's hand. In the past hour, you had several House progressives, including Congressman Ro Khanna and others, sending a letter to President Biden and Vice President Harris, basically asking the VP to overrule the Senate parliamentarian on this issue of whether a $15 an hour minimum wage hike can be included in the bill. I want to read you a little bit of what Congressman Khanna says, that, quote, "We've been asked politely but firmly to compromise on nearly all of our principles and goals." He says, "Not this time. If we don't overrule the parliamentarian, we are condoning poverty wages for millions of Americans. Overrule this misguided decision." So let me pose this to you. Do you think, and I know it sounds weedsy, but should the parliamentarian be overruled, which of course more broadly would mean that this minimum wage hike gets included in that bill?
Well, Hallie, I agree that it's a travesty that the Senate rules prevent us from getting an up or down majority vote on something as fundamental as a minimum wage to help lift millions of Americans out of poverty. And I would certainly consider overruling the parliamentarian on this issue, but to do that, you need the votes. And
need the votes.
We don't have the votes to do that, even if we wanted
Vice
to.
President
So we're going to have
Kamala
to continue
Harris.
to push for every way to get a vote on the minimum wage. That requires changing
Kamala
the Senate
Harris.
rules going
Yes,
forward.
Queen.
We're going to need a
Slay
majority
Queen.
to do that. But it is important that we move forward with this $1.9 trillion relief bill urgently. And it has lots of other important provisions in it. I'm as upset as anybody that we can't get an up or down majority vote on this provision.
The people that are
we'll
dying.
have to find a way going forward.
So,
specifically on putting the minimum wage issue aside and specifically on COVID relief as it exists, how quickly do you think the Senate is going to be able to approve that? Are you confident you're going to meet that deadline that is now 2 weeks away, that has been set by the White House of March 14th?
Hallie, I am confident. The Senate will take this up a little later this week, and we will work through the night to get it done.
Where's our stimulus check? All right, so hold on. I just wanted to say a couple things. The parliamentarian of the United States is a person named Elizabeth McDonough. I believe that's how you properly say her name. MacDonoughh. McDonough, I hope. Elizabeth McDonough. She's the parliamentarian of the United States Senate since 2012. And she's the first woman to hold a position. But wow, talk about having such a small heart for working class citizens. An unelected official just basically told elected officials, or air quote elected officials, that wait a minute, no $15 minimum wage increase, but yet this person can be overruled by not only President Joe Biden, but if he actually gave the order to his Vice President Kamala Harris. Hey, vote blue. No matter who, crowd. I thought you cared. I thought these were promises followed through as progressives. Good luck in convincing, because at this point, like seeing this in action, I've given up. Truly, good luck, Democrats, on getting my vote. Show me what you're going to do. Stop being the Washington Generals. Learn how to win once. Grow a sack. I don't know. And if anyone gets offended by my tone, by my words, by my actions, too bad, so sad, because like Daniel has pointed out, people are starving. People are still being evicted from their homes. We still got a COVID-19 crisis. Yes, COVID-19 is still around. We still have student debt, medical debt, all this crap. And yet, what are you expecting, Democrats, at this point? You give us word salads, and you're walking into a slaughter for 2022, and I don't know how it will play out. Maybe you'll still hold on to your majority. Maybe you won't, but you don't have my support. And at this point in time, we got to walk away from the two-party system. It's one big club, and at this point, you ain't in it. None of you are.
This is absolutely disgraceful to a level that I rarely feel on the show, and how pathetic and how useless the Democratic Party is. They are, I mean, we talked about this before, how the Democratic Party will put any amount of effort in to make sure that you get nothing. Absolutely nothing. They will spend weeks and weeks deliberating how to take from you, and as they give to themselves, as they choose their own pay, as they help their donors make enormous amounts of money, they choose to give you nothing, to take everything you have away, to make sure that they're not there when you're evicted, that you're not getting paid for the work you're doing, that you're not getting health care as they have the gold standard package. They get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars and get millions of dollars in bribes. They get quality health care. They get everything at the expense of you, the expense of everything that you stand for. Here the Democrats are trying to pull a random person out on budget reconciliation to give you nothing. And what the saddest thing is, and this is what people get weird about, like the sense is we'll take the sense that Jimmy will take when they say, why are you attacking Democrats so much? Because they're supposed to be the people closest to us. Supposed to is the strong word. They're just as far as the Republicans, just on a slightly different path. The squad, which we'll talk in a little bit, wants to do force the vote on this topic, refuses to stand for you. They are talking about standing for you. Here's the thing. Joe Manchin is one person. He's stopped everything. Progressives won't even try to attempt to do something like that. Sure, if they got Bernie in the Senate, he could make this happen just with his own vote. You have enough people in the squad to do it in the House, but they won't. Because at the end of the day, it's just, they will invest way more time and effort making sure that you think that they will support you than actually supporting you. They will spend millions of dollars and thousands of hours, take volunteers' time to make you think that they care when they could have put the same amount of time into actually caring. You are abandoned. We are all abandoned by both parties because they already have their sugar daddies. That's Wall Street. It's Silicon Valley. It's big oil.
Big banks.
The only real difference is a few of the donors and which party they're from. We're irrelevant in this case, and it's absolutely disgusting.
Before we end the segment, just a quick update. A good friend of the show, Roger, who has been really great at sharing information with me. So everyone, I hope you're sitting down. Minimum hourly wage of workers in jobs first covered. So we're going to start first the effective date of 1938, right? But September 1st, 1997, $5.15 for all covered non-exempt workers. July 24th, 2007, $5.85 for all covered non-exempt workers. July 24th, 2008, $6.55 for all covered non-exempt workers. July 24th, 2009, $7.25 for all covered non-exempt workers. And since then, it has remained at $7.25. Certain states do have the wage increase here and there. Costco, a private corporation, has raised its wage up to $16 an hour for its workers. But again, that's a private company, not a state, not a country. But it's a company here in the United States that's doing that. And when I say that the Democrats are pathetic and lack a spine, and then people get upset, show me your proof that the Democrats are better. Show me your proof that the Democrats care. Because, see, the thing is they're smiling at me, and I know they're telling me to go blank myself. See, the thing about Trump and the GOP Republicans, I'm talking about the lawmakers, the GOP lawmakers. When they give me the middle finger, at least I understand they're being upfront, and I find that refreshing. I know where I stand with that person. As for people like the Squad and AOC and Bernie, if you're not going to fight, why are you there? If you're not going to fight Joe or hold his feet to the fire, why are you there? We got to look at different alternatives. We got to look at new parties.
And could I also say to like AOC specifically, as we're talking force the vote and what happened in the last month or a couple months ago?
A couple months ago, yeah.
Yeah. I don't really care what you want, AOC. I care what your constituents want. And your constituents want minimum wage, and they got you there to fight for it. They want Medicare for all, and they want you there to fight for it. I don't care what AOC wants. I don't care what Bernie Sanders wants. I care what the people want. And we already have 1,000 different polls that we already know what the American people want. So when they say, like, I don't want to ruffle feathers, or I don't want to do this or that, I don't want to stand up, Joe Manchin is, and he's getting literally everything he's asking for. He is single-handedly affecting millions of people outside of his own state. He's affecting more people than live in West Virginia by doing what he's doing right now. The fact that you're not willing to do that because you don't want to ruffle feathers, because you want to make committee seats that you're not going to get anyway, because they're going to redistrict and wipe away many of the places you're elected in to begin with once the census comes in. It's a disgrace how cautious progressives are in office if you want to be charitable.